joining these talks. And I would like to ask you, maybe you could start by talking a little bit about yourself and your experience with conducted improvisation.
Yes, of course. Well, my name is Tobia Bondesan. I'm a saxophone player at first, but I'm also an improviser, a composer, and a conductor too. Too much things, maybe. I'm joking. Just a couple of words. I attended an important jazz school since I was very young, because there was this kind of course for child, and I attended this when I maybe 14, and so I have my roots in jazz. So I grew up, and when I became a teenager, the jazz became a little tight and not totally comfortable. I need a little more freedom, maybe. Yes. And there was this improv meeting in Florence and some cities around, and I began to start to meet these guys, and and then I start to improvise. And in the years before, I met some musicians a bit older than me, that like Silvia Bolognesi, that you already have here.
Sylvia.
Yes.
Yeah. She's great.
She's great, and she's one of my favorite teacher when I was very, very young, and I discovered a lot of things of the free music thanks to her, but also the drummer Alessio Riccio, the saxophone player Stefano Bartolini. That's all my great friends and great musicians, and there was my teacher, and they opened my mind about free music. But maybe I think a little bit of crazy things, and and about little freedom was inside me since I was the first time I take saxophone, because you know, when I improvise, I remember the first time I played the saxophone. Something's in this, the thinking, the way of thinking is quite the same, because you discover a surprise. A little bit unconsciously, maybe, that my favorite albums was the jazz album, but by artists that had a lot of freedom inside their work, like Ornette Coleman, The Last Coltrane, Eric Dolphy. So I need this freedom since I was young, maybe. Yeah, with Silvia, I discovered conduction, because there were the early times that I start to make conduction as a saxophone player was with Silvia, and in the years I discovered other methods, the Cobra method by Zorn, for example.
John Zorn. Yeah.
Then John Zorn, yes, all the yes, you know, every conductor and every people has his method. That I experimented as a saxophone player, and before, and then as a conductor. And my first group when I tried to conduct was I was a teen. I was very young, and half of the group was older than me, and was an octet called Euroboros. And the first time I tried to conduct, I played and I conducted sometimes in the same time, so it was very complicated. But it's an experience that finished after a couple of years. But it was very useful for me to understand some things about the conducting. And then a couple of years ago, maybe I was 21 or 22, I founded the collective Luring Improvisers. and just that now it's quite well known and is quite big, but at the beginning it was a kind of an experiment. And and we start like the meeting, the improv meeting that I participate when I was younger, but it was different because become to arrive performer, visual artists, actors, and in this creative atmosphere born the first Bluring Orchestra. There was the first big the big group, the big formation that I work, and it was quite crazy because it was every time a different group. I took musician time for time and just to ask, "Hey, do you want to participate in an orchestra?" And it was very a bit difficult, but also very creative because you know, having a different group. Use different colors, different people, and that's this. And years, don't know, 5 years ago, I can remember now, we had the first recordings. We stabilized a bit the situation, and we record the first album, that's Bluring Volume 1.
Wow, that's nice.
Yes, and that's it. And now I'm working with many orchestras. There's Bluring has grown up, is in a few cities, and then we have we try to have a stable orchestra, but it's very hard. And we have many orchestras and many people that's interested in conduction, and we mix it together sometimes.
Nice.
I work with Sylvia too, mostly as a saxophone player, as instrumentist, but. Yes, but I'm very interesting also in his work. She, maybe she's my first teacher in this. Also, I have my path after.
Nice, that's great, man. And well, you've mentioned that you've learned some things that were very interesting in conduction, and those things opened your mind. I wonder which are those things you mentioned.
Well, it's quite complicated because the first thing I understood, I think, was the freedom. Was the music is the only word that you can do really what you feel, really what you want. Because sometimes when you're in academic world, you can feel kind of a cage around you, but you don't know that there is a cage, but you have the walls around you. Because you have to read the music, you have to improvise on chords, you have to learn styles. But when you have your instruments, an orchestra better in front of you, you're really free to think about music, to be and that very important thing in an orchestra and also when you play with other people. And that can you be free with the other people. So your freedom is directly connected with other people.
Yeah, sure.
So
that's sure.
So maybe this is the most important thing that I learned about improvisation. Then about conduction, especially in my first group, that's now I remember. Yes, was strange because I was an instrumentist and a conductor too, and something was a bit naive, but I understood the role of the conductor and the role of the instrumentist and how they're strictly connected. For example, I think that the musician and the conductor have to endorse each other's idea. It's not a war, it's a collaboration. And this sometimes in you see the orchestra and the conductor like in a pyramid, where the conductor and down the orchestra, and here it's working a different way, because yes, we share the responsibility. if the concert is good, everyone win. If the concert it's a very bad concert, everyone failed. So well, I understood the things, and it was very clear when I was a conductor and an instrument in the same time.
Yeah, totally agree, and love this idea of shared responsibility. This is great. Yeah, definitely.
And yes, after when I became just a director, I think I lost something that I have in improvisation, because you know, the sounds become not from you, but you have the sound in front of you, and you yeah, you know, when you play, it's a kind of cross when you have listen, sound, form, timbre, a lot of things, and yeah, and also the gesture is different, and is a kind of point exactly in the middle between thinking and non-thinking, conscious and not conscious.
Right.
And when you conduct, you have to be a little bit more conscious that there's a kind of thinking that you put in background, just to have because you have the responsibility of the form, of the structure, of the what is going to be, and what everyone have to do. So I lost this part, but I keep a very beautiful things, like have colors, have many colors. I connect the timbre directly with colors. You know, I'm very fascinated from these aspects, because the possibility of choose different musicians and the same musicians and not instruments, because you know, everyone has a special sound.
Of course.
You know, I have a jazz story. Jazz, sorry, in Italian, is in the orchestra of Duke Ellington. Duke wrote the name in near the lines of the different musicians, because they have their sound, and I think this is very important to remember every time, because two saxophone can play in a very different way with a very different sound. So I try to understand the first thing that I have an orchestra, different orchestra, have many different groups, what kind of sounds have my friends of the day, and how I can mix it, how to have a different matter, different matter of the orchestra, different colors in the orchestra. I find as the first thing, one of the first things I do, that find some different combos inside the orchestra. So I, for example, I love. I don't work as a jazz orchestra with charts or with sections like trombones, saxophone. I work not only, but quite only with a mixed section.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yes, because for example, I know that trumpet player is very good with mutes. This guitar player has a very strange effect that I love, and very this color together are very cool, and with a voice. And I have a trio in my mind that sound in a very specific way.
Okay.
And I make play they together.
So do you choose every specific seat for everyone, or do you let people choose for themselves?
The seat? No, I let they free in this. Yes, sometimes I have some technical problems. Maybe okay, we had conduction.
Yeah. Can you share?
Yeah, of course. For example, I first time I moved the Blue Ring improvisers to Bologna. Okay, now I live in Bologna. I'm born near a very little country near Siena, that's in Tuscany, and I founded Blue Ring there. And when I moved the collective, not the entire collective, the idea of the collective. And Bologna is a strange city. There's many musicians, and this is very curious, and it's a cool city. And okay, I put this. I wrote on the Facebook and on the internet that okay, I'll make this orchestra with and arrived kind of 60 people. And it was this enormous orchestra, and I have
60.
Yes.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And it was kind of crazy. I kind of don't know, 5 singers, 7 guitars, and it's very difficult to listen the sound of everyone when I have 60 people. So
right.
Yeah, so I tried. I remembered it to make as a first thing the macro group, yeah, the macro zone where I can put in the people that I already know. For example,
I suppose that by the point of view of the musician, it's difficult to see if the conductor is pointing to you or to the person next to you as well.
I have some photos. I was in the middle. I have kind of run around that place. Is a cover market, you know, with is an ex-cover market, and now is the place of the classical orchestra, and they borrow me to make this Blu-ray, and I have to run around the orchestra.
Yeah,
because to make it. And another crazy concert was when we tried. Okay, we enjoyed this space in Siena with the collective. That is a club, but it's very small. It's a very small place with a half coda piano inside. So it's a very, very small place. And we enter in here like in 20. And yes, and also there I remember a lot of crazy situations.
Nice. And how was to play with that many people in a small place?
There was I really give the responsibility to the group, because before the concert I said, okay guys, we have the audience less than a meter to me, that I was with my back. We have to play not so much and not so loud, and we have to compose when I play, and it's things I said every time.
Okay.
and they was very educated. That was, yes, because they play very well. And I'm lucky because for many years my brother is a double player, and I have this dear friend that is drum player. And well, when I put these two elements in an orchestra, they know me and they know where I want to go. So
Okay.
sometimes, yes, it's every time it's simple when you work with the musicians that you already know.
Okay. Do you think it's possible to put in words where do you like to go? Maybe any kind of tips, any kind of ideas?
Where I want, well, I think about conduction, mostly like, okay, I already told to you to the the colors, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There's two things for me that's very special to conducting, and one is to the responsibility of the four that I already told to you, and another one is the way that my mind works to create landscape.
Landscapes.
Yes,
Okay.
landscape. Yes, because I work in that sense. I build like yes, like the toys, the Lego toys.
Yeah, layers, layers.
Yeah, yes, I created layers,
Okay.
and I built some landscapes when characters arrive, when something's happen or not, and I stay in a landscape for a bit. That's in that landscape can change light. Imagine a
Okay.
movie. It's very narrative. It's the improvisation for me can be very narrative. Also when is very static, but you telling the static. So
Yeah, totally.
yes, so it's very narrative. And then with the long transition, arrive to another landscape. So like a kind of switch often, and maybe the same landscape, but with something different elements, or maybe a total different landscape.
Okay.
And yes, and this kind of things, I think so, with the colors, with the tell stories, use mixed section is a all. Always I think about something that you have to tell, have to share, have to. It's important for me also these things. The conducting is an you can conduct alone. Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
it's I think that you share with the musicians and with audience, and okay, can happen when you play an instrument that you play just for you or for your group, and this most strange when you conduct, because we can enjoy also the rehearsal when we are alone, but we enjoy the rehearsal because we are together. I don't know if you it's
Yeah.
clear what I want to do.
I totally agree. Yeah, man, I totally agree. It's very social. It's related to connect with people, and that's for real. And well, if I can geek a little bit with you, just I would like to know if you do have any preferred signs or gestures or anything that you like the most to use, any tactics or directives or strategies Maybe something that you can share.
Okay, I said before that everyone has his method, and I grew up with a much more method that Sylvia learned from Butch, and then I learned to her. But I mixed with because this is the main body of the gesture. But I add more gesture from other musicians, whom I work, and I invented a lot of, not a lot of, just just a little bit of more gesture with special groups or didactic situation too. I have with children or with very anarchic musician that I can't control.
Okay.
So sometimes I invented just okay, and then I mix this with signal sometimes. That I used mostly before and not now so much, and that's the I think that's I use a lot. It's some cards that I give to my to all musicians. It's their gesture, but that's not my gesture. A musical gesture, a little bit more complicated than just one gesture. My gesture is a kind of pre-ordered situation. And it's need also to study some situations. I call it the cycles, because I used to write it inside a cycle with a contemporary notation.
Okay, so let's say I'm gonna play with you, and I pick a 7 of spades, for example.
No, it's not cards. Game cards. It's cards. It's just paper with maybe it's 8. I can't remember now. 10 is 8 or 10 cycles on this, and every cycles have a number near the cycle and a graphic notation inside. And for colleagues, I doing a cycle in the air with a stick. I call the number, and the gesture that become after is referred to the cycle. For example, the cycle number 1 can be pointillism. Okay, and with this gesture, I can decide the density of the pointillism.
Okay.
That is something that is between
How do you show the density? Like this?
It's not. It's very slow because you have to change. Okay, I call the cycle number 1, and then I show the density. It's quite short density. If I groove, it's like they have more space to put their sound. Okay, or maybe
if I can say something, you know what? It's interesting that sound painting has a gesture, and it's called the more space fader. It's just like this, and it means density.
Yes, it's similar. Yes, but I worked just a month ago, just before the situation, with Giovanni Meyer, the double bass player. He has different gesture to indicate some of the same things that I want to do. It's not so different. It's just quite a little bit different. It's long notes. It's long notes. It's actually, yes, you know, everyone has the yes, the same ideas are kind of universal.
Uh-huh.
I want to tell you this. Another cycle interesting is the timbre. Is a T. Just a big T.
Like this?
Like the inside the cycle, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, what
In a written.
yes, it's another cycle, and we decide before what it means, because for the things that we said before about colors, I divided the orchestra in groups, and I tell to every group an evocation to they have to improvise thinking to this evocation in a timbric way. So maybe is yellow, or maybe is a word like don't know, noise or boring, or
Like shrimp.
don't know. Yes, or and I can control. They improvise, but I can control the the improvisation, or I can. So I often have 3 groups on a timbre cycle, and I can change the dynamics of the groups, for example.
Okay.
So there's I think that okay, it's strange because it depends a lot of the groups. There's some groups that play very well their own, and I have just to work on the form, and I stay and I listen to, and sometimes I change situation, and sometimes made also of great musicians, of great improvisers. They sometimes don't know why. Maybe the alchemy of is different. No, they need more information, a lot of information. That I work a lot on what I have to. I have to put inside the material, the matter.
So since you're going this way, I would like to ask you if you think, what do you think that could go wrong on stage, or what gets you frustrated, or something like that?
Well, the thing that make me more angry is take this work without seriety. I say from the musician that who play thinking about this just a game. I use game like now like a negative. It can be a game, but you know it's positive. But or thinking of being superior to everyone to this kind of music is just don't know. People that can't play another way, or I think the different is here. I direct some orchestras made by not professional musicians. I direct orchestra made by very young people.
Mm-hmm.
But when everyone is very concentrated on the music, the result is very good. When there is also just 1 or 2 people that don't believe that the orchestra can do something beautiful, you feel the energy that go down. It's very sad. And same things for the audience, for the people that listen to you. It's very hard to work with a Domba style audience. Is the average public think that improvisation conducted is music for a few, for intellectual, for it's very important thing is not let feel the public stupid. to try to connect with the music, not with words or with a long introduction when you explain the conduction, but with the energy, with the concentration, with the also involve him in a experimental music that is shared energy, as I said before. And the things that can be wrong is really a lot. But I think that we can start from the mistakes to create something new. I think that you can, yes. Sometimes we have to be grateful and happy of the on the mistakes of the musicians and mistakes that we do. An example that's often happen is the ending with the break, with stop. Yes, okay. As someone that's but okay, there's a guy that's look at I don't know at the instrument, and everyone stop playing and he continue. And it can be the beginning of a solo of a new idea. I can give the repeat gesture, and here start a new story. I can't stop the orchestra and go to the audience and say sorry, it's a mistake. No. And I think this is the improvisation, the possibility to use the mistakes at the best.
Nice, man. Thanks for sharing. I would like to change it a bit about the subject.
Sorry,
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you very well.
No.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's better now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's better.
So I want to change the subject a little bit, and I want to ask you about our art residency that you hosted some years ago. I think it's called ISAR or something like that.
Yes, and the Impro Summer Artist Residency is an acronym. That's not in English. I don't know to say. Okay, it's an experience that we had for 3 years, and this should be the fourth. We don't know if we can, if we will. We're going to do it because, yeah, you know. But it's I think is one of the most one of the most crazy and emotional things I ever do. Is everything was born when this drummer that I said before, that's my great friends Giuseppe Sardina. He had the thesis for the conservatory and he studied the timbre, and in drums, that is very large subject. I went to the discussion, and it was very clear and appassionate. And I work we in common. We have me and my brother and him. That's we organize the things of Blue Ring Improvise. In common we have that. We also like to speak about music and thinking about it, like it's kind of if theoretical approach, not theoretical like CA. Okay, it's theoretical, like thinking about music and life connected is a good thing. And so we decide to have the first of residence for musician that we prepare it just for a few musicians, can be 8 or 10, and it arrived kind of 15. The first was in my home, at my parents' home, and then
Oh, wow.
we slept. We slept on the sofa and everywhere, and was very very. There was so creative because many minds all together to create around experimental music can do really. Also, if the many musicians are not professional, can do really great things. Then the year the second year we decided to move to another place, well with more place where to sleep and to eat and to play. And we found this incredible place that on the top of the hill is a medieval church.
Wow.
Was no one in maybe 10 kilometers around.
Wow.
And it's with a wood, and it's like it has something spiritual, but not spiritual in the sense of Christian or it's about music. It's spiritual about music, and everyone is very concentrated about what he's doing. And it's a kind of here now. I'm just playing, and I'm here just to understand what I'm doing, and the most important thing, why I'm doing that.
Sure.
We organize many groups, and we have the responsibility of drive the different groups and propose different subjects. For example, I remember second year I had subject is the how to be narrative, and I work with books and music and text, and what was just one of the things we're doing. Then we grew up again, and we had also artist is artist in painter, sculpture, dancer, and so it's very hard to describe because everyone speak with everyone and share his experience, and very incredible things happen. I remember that the second of the last year, no, the second year, someone of the groups start to work about the how to enter on the stage. And
wow.
And I think in a couple of days, there was the most incredible things that happen on the stage. Just not just enter, but people that go around the room, and people with candles, and all the light turn off, and people who singing outside that can inside. And yes, it's very the thing that I said before, that with music you can do what you want, what you feel. If you feel that something is useful for your story, you can tell to everyone.
Nice, man, nice. This sounds very fun, and I wish I can participate in some time in one of these.
Yeah, should be great. And the last days every year, it's of 5 days. The fifth days we work with the orchestra.
All right.
So that's very hard because we are 4 teacher, but not teacher. It's just people that organize, and every people that organize work with the orchestra for many hours with a very different things.
Approach.
very different approach. For example, Giuseppe, that was the drummer. He wrote. It's in a very contemporary classic way, mixing with improvisation. So he organized a time score, like the film is doing, with a timer, and we have to play at the second. He had to put on the timer and he put musician around all the village.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And everyone has a timer, and things happen around the village.
Wow.
Yes, the last year I invented a game with signals that I give not to me but to the musicians that can improvise. It was just for fun. I remember that I was the last that I worked with the orchestra, so there was just already very tired, and I give these signals, and kind of I want to play with you, and they can do a quote, and they can fight in sense of do something very different one each other, and you can change the quote. Is kind of the pirates doing. Yeah,
nice.
Just was very funny, and that was the how is it? It's in soccer. I don't know the name. The arbitro. Wait.
The judge.
Yes, the judge. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. And I have signals with a cross. You can do it. Or with red new section, and they just to stop, or with a bomb, and that's
okay. Like the prompter in Cobra.
Yes, exactly. Is taking some from Cobra, and some invented it, and some is just signal gesture. Written signals. It's very funny, but it's an experiment just to play, to have fun. I remember the final concert of because we every night we play, and the final concert mine was the last tune is the last. Okay, don't know how to tell it. And he was finished with a big laugh, everyone. That it was finished, boom, and everyone exploded in a laugh because it was very, very fun.
Nice. That sounds very fun, man. So, just a second here. All right. Yeah. So I just want to ask if anyone has any questions, because we have 10 more minutes. And yes. I would ask you to, maybe you could share one last story that you brings in your heart about conducted improvisation.
About conducted improvisation. Yes, I have. Yes, I have a couple of them, but very short.
Okay.
One time with my brother is the only time we had a conduction with orchestra made just with the bow instruments, violin, viola, and they all come from classical music.
Okay.
And was I don't know why we organized these things. It was one of the first time we conduct, and we really like the sounds of the. And I remember that this fire grew up in the eyes of the classical musicians. That was very many of them was very young, and then could play really what they want. And I remember it was not so good conducting, but it was very cool experience. And another very cool story is when we record the first album. We record all together in the same room, and I remember there was these things is very important to make everyone very happy. This is kind of the engine of the creative action, and make you let the people see you very happy and very sure that everyone that everything go very good, and then that's the concert, the recording will be great. And I remember people with the sunglasses inside. That's very cool guys, and yes, and people that say yeah to their people when you play. Yes, I have a lot of things that I remember with really a lot of love in the things of Blue Ring, and also in the conduction music. Also, the last time I was conducted as a saxophone player was with Sylvia just a month and a half ago, just before I left to have a tour in Northern Europe, and it was great because a very big orchestra that she said to you, and with a very high energy. Yes, there's many situations.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Those are great stories. Yeah, thank you so much. I have one last question. Last minute question, which is about you were saying that you've recorded with your band, with your orchestra, and I would like to know if when you finished your mixing, your mastering, did you change anything from the original footage, or if you just had the same thing that you recorded, you just published like that?
Okay, we recorded the entire album in studio, but we had the last track is during 15 minutes. That's quite long, live. So is in the live we changed just something, some little things.
What kind of things did you change?
I changed. I kind of an effect, some voice, maybe, because it's sometimes we need more, spaces to place things, like electric things, or we cut in the studio. We cut in the middle, and we put with the last part of the second take.
Right.
Yes.
So you did change the structure of the music you recorded.
Yes, because in the recording, okay, I have to improve my method, because it was many years ago, and I had the Morris method with some gestures more, and many written music that I use also now. Where I give, when I can, I give a lot of composed music to musicians, and yes, speaking before about landscape, some of this landscape was written. So we go to a written landscape to another with a transition, and so the order was the same in the recordings. So in the middle there was a solo instrument, can be, I can't remember but here the last two tunes was better, so we decide. But I think that improvisation is overdubbing and editing tracks and all the things is we can do everything easier.
Sorry, man, I lost you. I lost you for a second. Can you repeat it?
Yes, no, I think that we are in the 21st century and we can do it easier. And it's if it's made with a compositive way, it's not just to make it natural, but just to thinking about it like a composition. You can do it. There's many cases where our overdubs, etc., are used in creative way, like it's creative material.
Yes.
So it's like another musician that's play that from another planet that can put
Yeah, sure.
the matter in a different way. The very important things for me is the kind of sounds that you're looking for and that you must have in your head. And for this, I think that's now in the 21st century, I said, and that's the internet. It's very simple to know these things. Every musician, also modern musicians, should have some little notions of recordings and how to modify the recordings on the sound, because you can arrive to the sound you have in your heads. And yes, and the timbre, and the first thing you heard when the air arrived to your ear is a physical things, is the timbre.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, man. Oh, thank you so much for sharing all those great stories. It was awesome. It was great to talk to you. And I hope we can meet in person as soon as this thing overs.
I hope a lot for many reasons.
Yeah, man.
No, I really hope to see you and speak again.
Yeah,
Sorry for
man.
my English, Italian
No,
English.
it was nice. It was nice. It was great to talk to you, brother. So take care, please take care, and see you soon.
Yes, of course. I write to
Okay.
you very soon.
Yeah. Stay safe, bro. Thanks for
Yes, you
everyone
too.
who's watching, and bye bye.
Bye everyone. Bye.